Hey guys, Darth Sebious here, and I admit obviously you can't see me. I've got some bad lighting in the room, so I thought I'd just do a kind of voiceover because mainly I'm talking about models and pictures and things today. I was asked a question by Never Forget the 24th on Tumblr, which was my favourite of the Forge World Primarch models, and I had to have a bit of a think about it and have a look at them, and they're such beautiful, wonderful models that I wanted to have a little look at them today and go through them, and as well as the rest of the character series. And then we'll talk about my favourites and least favourites in the end. So let's crack on with the Wallmaster himself. Here he is, Lupercal, Horus Wallmaster of the Lunar Wolves and later Sons of Horus here, looking resplendent and badass on the Imperial Rune balustrade in his armour, and he's got his World Breaker power maul. He just looks incredible. The detail is amazing, and you have to say that Simon Egan has done a wonderful job with that. It's just great, and the detail's wonderful. Just looking at him, he's just, he is a work of art. The talent of Horace there, looking great, and just a very, very, very nice model. Wonderful. We move on to Angron here, the Red Angel himself, kind of rusted, gladiatorial, brutal looking. It seems to be that he's standing on the mangled body of a death guard while knocking some world eaters away. So presumably this is Isfan 3 kind of chaff, sorting the wheat from the chaff when the big purgings happened. And there he is going to town with his twin chain axes, doing his thing. And he's just got crazy chains and skulls and rusted stuff going all down his back. It's just a wonderful, another wonderful model. And who's sculpting that one? That's Simon Egan again. Very, very nice stuff. Very nice. We've got a goodie now. Good old Ferrus Manus. Not in the Horus Heresy for the longest compared to some of the other Primarchs, but what an impression he has made as a model. He is just beautiful. Again, I'm going to say detail a number of times over the course of this video, I realise now. So I may say details too many times. I apologise about that. I'll try and be a bit more specific. But you can see he's got his kind of liquid metal silver arms, which is obviously a big thing about him. And just that backpack with the plasma weapons, chain swords, there's injectors, there's crazy amounts of tech going on that backpack. That whole power pack has got a lot more. That is a Swiss Army power pack, madness. And he just is, again, really another beautiful model. Like I said, he doesn't appear in the Horus Heresy for too long, so it's nice that he got such a beautiful model to mark his passing. Again, that's another Simon Egan sculpt, and it goes very well with this guy here, Fulgrim. Again, I really like the detail on the armour, the Aquila and stuff, and the cape and the things going on. And his sword looks lovely, and there's another beautiful base. But unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of the facial sculpting on old Fulgrim, because I think it says on Forge World that they decided to capture him rather in his kind of serene and perfecting kind of way. He is in the middle of battle, and he is going to town. What does it say here? Modelled in the thick of bloody combat, his arrogance and condescension giving way to fratricidal anger and battle-born wrath. Now, I'm not quite sure if that's the face of fratricidal wrath, but it is rather epic. And the rather interesting thing, I haven't got the picture of it here, but the models of these guys actually go together, Ferris and Fulgrim, to create a diorama of them having at it, as it were, in that rather epic and rather final moment for one of them. Not trying to give too many spoilers away, but yeah. So there's Fulgrim. Next we have Lorgar. Now I really like Lorgar. I really like the basing, the effects they've got there. You can't really see it in the images, but he's got kind of Colchizian runes around his feet, which are epic. His Crozius is just insane. Just as well as the armor, it's kind of detailed, again detailed, but it's kind of nicely etched, but it's also not too much going on. And his kind of knowing, slightly sardonic, tainted face is kind of a beautiful thing as well. I think it's another very strong, cracking sculpt. And this is Edgar. Oh, this is gonna be a bit of a test. Edgar Skomorowski. I believe I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, so I do apologise. But that's Lorgar, looking like a bad mama jamba. Next we've got Kurz. Now, Kurz seems to have split opinion. People seem to have very strong opinions on this model. I personally think he looks freaking amazing. The destroyed wreckage that he's on, with all the kind of flayed and mangled bodies beneath him, just in that kind of, he's got a kind of Nightcrawler, Wolverine-esque kind of thing going on. He's just, yeah, the skulls, the claws, his kind of expression. Now, again, the facial expression is an interesting one. Does kind of remind me of Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time, which maybe is not the kind of thing you want to be conjuring with Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords, but he's yeah, the cape of flayed flesh, also a beautiful thing, and I really think it is a cracking looking model. And who have we got to thank for this one? Oh, and the edges says on there. Interesting. I'm gonna guess it's Simon Egan. As we move on to the next one, we have Mortarion. Now, for those you may know, I am a huge fan of Nurgle. I've got my own Nurgle warband, the Fermenters, who specialise in stealing Mjord from Space Wolves and revelling and summoning Plague Bearers, having a fun time. But I don't really have that much love for the Death Guard, because they're very stripped down and perfunctory in their kind of attrition-y, Nurgle-y, which is, again, is very Nurgle, but it's kind of the getting the job done side of Nurgle, rather than the fun, happy, happy-go-lucky, joyous pestilence of Nurgle, which doesn't always endear me to the Death Guard. But this is a cracking model. Man Reaper is beautiful. The kind of more industrial, dirty base is not the greatest of the stylistic bases, but it's alright. But his armour is just cracking, his hood, and I really kind of like the kind of steampunky, the almost like all the tubes and bellows and things coming out of his power pack, as well as the sensors, which presumably are going to have kind of some kind of Nurgly goodness or some kind of thing coming out of them. Maybe originally they would have been sensors for the Emperor, with nice smelling Imperial sort of smells, but presumably later those balls on his back will be full of nasty smelling kind of stuff. I was going to say he's just posed ready with the Man Reaper, doing his thing. There's another Edgar Skomorowski model, and pretty badass. Which brings us to the most recent of the Primarch models, possibly one of the most beautiful. We've got Vulcan. Vulcan is there standing kind of on the remains of his own men and kind of destroys stuff. So you imagine this is taking place in the S15 drop site massacre, and he is just resplendent in his armor. Again, detail, as I said, detail, but just look at the Drake's cloak. It's just sculpted so beautifully, and his hammer and his kind of the flaming sort of brazier around him. It's just cracking stuff, and it really is another absolutely beautiful model. And this one is another Simon Egan one, and you just loving everything about it. The detail, again, stop saying detail, Seb, but the flames, the Drake's kind of scales, the skulls on there, the wrought work on the hammer and stuff. Again, it's all crackingly beautiful stuff. So yeah, that's the Primarchs. I'm going to steamroll through the rest of the character series up to now, and then maybe I'll start saying which ones, start placing them in some kind of order, picking my favourites, my least favourites. Although I think I may have given a little bit a hint towards which ones they are. But next we have, so character models. We have the first ones on the left there. We've got Loken and Abaddon, the diorama. You can have that with the, obviously, all the base work, the destroyed rubble of the situation on Svan 3 as they have at each other. Or you can have them separately, but they just look awesome. It's impossible not to, as a Chaos player, it's impossible not to have a special kind of love for Abaddon in a way, because obviously he is Abaddon the Armless, the leader of the Black Legion, and kind of ever chosen for 40k. But then again, it's also heartbreaking because I just love Garviel Loken so much. The character of Garviel Loken, as you get to know him and as he brings you into the Horus Heresy throughout the opening trilogy, he's just an incredible guy, and he's a very, very nice model with his cape flapping off in the back and looking badass. Can't really tell which way that fight's going to go, but you really wish it's going to go one way rather than the other. And on the right we have Khan. Khan, before he, when he's still just the 8th captain of the World Eaters, before he has taken on them the moniker of the Betrayer. Obviously he's painted there in white and blue of the original Warhounds and later World Eaters colours. He is just knocking another Marine aside, doing his job. He's got his plasma pistol and his axe there. Not sure whether it's already Gorchard by this point or not, depending on when the model is being modelled up. Presumably it would just be his own chain axe at this point. But he is just, again, the dented, kind of scraped, battle damaged kind of nature of the model was great. The mohawked helmet is also another beautiful thing. And then just the fact that you can see he's got his arms out, and the chains, the gladiatorial chains are there. It's just a very nice model. There is an option to have him helmetless, and you can kind of see the butcher's nails and stuff on there, but that's not shown up here. But I think really for this Khan with the mohawked helmet is a great thing. Staying on the Chaos vibe, we have got the granddaddy and the granddaddy of the Lorgar, or good old daddy Corphayron, Dark Cardinal, Master of the Faith, pseudo Terminator with his horrible looking lightning claws there, just looking badass. With obviously he's got pennants and things going between his legs with runes and things written on them, and again nice detail on his armor there. And Destiny's bitch, or the man who makes the bitch of Destiny, at least in his own mind, Erebus. It's weird not to say Erebus the Teletosser or Erebabes, because Dorothy does always come to mind when you're looking at Erebus and talking about Erebus, because she is probably his #1 fan, and he is epic. You gotta love the Wordbearer's book, and the burning skull, and just more detail, more pennants, more interesting carvings and things going on in his armor. Again, looking badass. You gotta look badass when you are the guys that kind of shaping and having a massive effect on the entirety of the Horus Heresy and the future, as it were. Obviously, Corphayron bringing Lorgar up in the original Chizian Waste before Compliance, and Erebus, the one whispering in everyone's ear and doing Lorgar and generally Chaos's bidding. On the right we've got Typhus. Now again, as we said, I'm not a huge Death Guard fan, but Typhus later on, especially kind of 40k Typhus, definitely gets down with the sickness and down with the jolly plagueness, which is a beautiful thing. And he is modelled very nice. Again, you've got more tubes and things going on. He's got his Man Reaper. He's pointing. He just looks kind of epic. He's not the most beautiful of all the models, I suppose, but he definitely is nicely detailed. And you look at him, you can see that is Typhus. But again, like I said, I'd probably like a more 40k-esque, more tainted, kind of more naggy model, because that's just the way my predilections seem to go. And last but not least, we also have Archmage's. Where has he gone? Archmage's Dracovac. and one epic model that is. He's got his own. This is the guy who ends up siding with Horace, beginning to start the Dark Mechanicus. He's got his kind of Mechanicus pulpit engine, palanquin type thing with servo skulls and mechadendrites coming off it there. And the detail on that is just wonderful. The cogs, the skulls, like just the whole gothic and almost cathedral-esque nature, which is just such a big thing in all of Warhammer 40k and the Horus Heresy 30k times. And just who doesn't like epic cable dreadlock mechadendrite things, and then some kind of animal skull face? What is not to love about that? It's a beautiful thing, and he's got his tech axe and multiple arms, and there's a whole bunch of different weapons and things that can go with him. But I'm just showing the main pictures just to show you what these things look like and have a look at them. So let's see. Well, probably. I'm very, very torn. I kind of was decided before which ones, but I think Horace is going to be up there. I think Horace for the Primarchs. He is the War Master after all, and just he is modelled in such a nice way. I look forward to seeing if they do more of these models later on with more corruption and things with some of them. But he is looking beautiful, and he's definitely one of my top picks for the good guys, for the bad guys. Sorry, but they're good guys to me as I worship chaos. And Ferrus Manus, old silver arms and crazy backpack. It's got to be another one of my big favourites. He just is just beautiful and ridiculous. You could just spend an insane amount of time looking at that backpack alone. Just nothing but the backpack. Because, like I said, you got plasma, there's a chain axe, there's injectors and things. Is there a flamer in there, it looks like? There's just a lot of stuff going on there, and it's just a beautifully detailed, crazy model. And again, I think a big shout out, if they were my goodie and my baddie picks for Primarchs on 1 and number 2, definitely a very honourable mention, and probably maybe even tied for number 2 with the goodies would be Vokoun, just because the detail on that Drake cloak is just divine. And I have a kind of soft spot for Vulcan. Despite being a heretic at heart, I just love his genial and lovely nature, and the fact that he is a badass when it comes to war, and it really is his war aspect that comes to the fore and making him look like a serious chap in this one. So number 1, Horace / Ferris / Vokoun. These chaps are just beautiful. Probably my least favourite, I'm probably sure it's not a big surprise, but Fulgrim. The armour is great. The fact that he is leaping, the action is kind of great, but it's also a kind of odd sideways, not quite, I don't know. I've never lunged with a large sword and been of Primarch proportions, but it just seems a slightly awkward angle, and just the facial expression and the hair, unfortunate. But I think in some ways there are things that might save this model is, at this point, possible spoilers for Horus Heresy, but hey, you should be up there by now, and not too much. You can always close your ears for a moment. But at this point, this is kind of the portrait of Dorian, the portrait of Dorian Gray version of Fulgrim. So I imagine he's been inhabited by by some kind of Slaneshi demon by this point. So maybe that is kind of one thing that comes out in his face, because it isn't very long after he does what he does that the War Master, in one of the short audios or short stories, very firmly tells him to get out of his face because he's not his brother. And there are stories talking about how he comes back and things later, but that's one of those things. And maybe Mortarion would probably be possibly down there as well. The memory is awesome. The backpack and stuff is awesome. Other than that, without taking the paint job aside, just as a model, he's kind of stripped bare, perfunctory. He does what he does and does it well. But he is, yeah, just very Death Guard in that way. And so obviously that leaves Angron and Lorgar kind of in the middle there, because they would nearly make it to the top spot, because I love them both dearly, both the models. They really capture the kind of nature of each Primarch. Obviously, just the bestial, rusted gladiator of death that is Angron, and the kind of the more thoughtful, studied, ponderous, kind of priestly statesman that Lorgar very much was before he became kind of the full-on dark apostle of epicness with the Primarch. Yeah, so that would be for the actual Primarch series. And looking at the models for the actual characters, I don't know. There's a lot to choose from. I think honourable mention goes to old. I don't remember his name. Old Archmage's Dracovic or Dracovic. Just because the detail and stuff on there is just crazy, and I love the cable dreadlocks. So yeah, he's beautiful. Probably around the middle, top to middle. Typhus is great. I think Typhus is actually better than Mortarion in some ways. But there's probably around the middle as well. Corphaeron and Erebus definitely up the top for me. They are beautiful. As well as good old Abby D and Loken and Khan. So I think I'm going to have Abaddon and Loken and Erebus and Corphaeron as my top picks, I think, for the models. With obviously Archmagus, what's his chops? Old Skullface as an honourable mention, and then it would probably be Typhus. Typhus at the bottom. So yeah, that's just kind of a little look over at the characters, the Primarchs, the Forge World beauty. And obviously I've picked some favourites and some least favourites, but they're all beautiful, wonderful models, and I love them all very dearly. I was asked to pick which ones I liked and put them at the top and put some at the bottom, and that's what I've done. I'd love to hear what kind of the ones your favourites, what ones you have, and if you want to share your kind of your modelling or your paint jobs with us, we'd love to see them. And we'd love to hear what you think. What models do you like? What Primarchs are you hoping to come next? What characters are you hoping to see next? I know there's the Weekender not too long time, so hopefully we'll see some more pictures of things that will be coming in the future and more exciting things like that. So it's all very exciting. But yeah, I am Darth Sebious. This is a video for AlliesIndex.com. It's a place for all things geeky gaming. We are mostly based on Tumblr, best place to get hold of us, but we are on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all those fun places as well. We've got all sorts of videos and articles. There's lots of Magic the Gathering stuff at the moment. We do card games, tabletop, lots of Warhammer stuff. We've got some campaigns started, video games as well. I know that Chaos Girl's been posting some Warcraft and Diablo 3 videos, and Toxic's had his Champion of AI Elder Scrolls Online series is just about to start, and he's also been posting the QuickTime Blues videos, so there's some good old Minecraft stuff up there and other things, and Worms. I think there's all sorts of stuff that we're working on. And if you want to get involved or share stuff with us, just get a hold of us on Tumblr, again, AlliesIndex.com, and it's all about the joy of geeky gaming, and we'd love to hear from you and see what you think. Again, I'm Darth Sebious, and I will catch you guys later. Taddy bye.